Good morning, folks. It's Saturday, June 5th, around 10 a.m. and we're looking at our painted mountain corn coming up quite nice. We're about 16 or 17 days until our last frost date, but things are looking really warm, so we've done some planting and decided to get some things in full swing. Here you can see some Egyptian walking onion, some arugula seeding, and our raspberries. And I wanted to have a little discussion about the state of what's going on here and some experiments we're going to be doing in the future, including air layering. This pear tree has about 50 to 100 pears on it. This apple has about 1,000 apples on it, so hopefully some of those fall off. And a lot of our columbines are done flowering. But we've got quite a bit of currant berries on the bush, and I'll point some of those out to you. Planted some things up here yesterday just as a test on how they would overnight. And we've got some melons that are from the Four Corners region, Chimayo, which is a native melon. And I've got some squash, which look like they made it through the night, which is good news. Our plums are doing pretty good. I'll come over here and show you a few plums just dangling off the tree. Here we got a nice little plum, you can see. And these are native plums to our region. And one interesting thing about these native plums is once they're established, this one's about 5 years old, one of the first trees we planted here, they sucker out. So here we see a 3-year-old version of that plum tree simply coming from the root. And then if we come along the rocks here, we can see more plums coming out here and here. There's 2 under here, there's 2 here, bunch here. Those can all be dug out next year and moved around in the spring. So you typically want to move things in the spring, early spring, before the leaves even come out. And here you can see some of our strawberries just coming up. Remember, we're zone 5A. It's basically like the Arctic. We have less than 90 days of growing. And the temperature fluctuations here are 40 to 50 degrees. I would take in the greenhouse, but we'll do that on a different update because there's just so much to look at. Here is one of our most prolific currants. And it's a prickly currant, so it's very hard to get the currants off of a prickly currant. But there you can see one right there, one of those currants. And here's a gooseberry, and clearly you can see the gooseberries on there. They're looking pretty nice. And these will be done in about a week or so as they plump out. We've got our Jerusalem artichoke bed, much earlier than usual, which is why I've started to plant out some warm weather crops. Our potatoes typically don't come up here until mid-June, and we plant them in mid-May. Some really nice looking garlic. And we've got about 40 or 50 sprouting broccolis back here, and those should be producing broccoli shortly. And some of our peas coming up. And some favas. And here we have a purple potato that's really doing well. You watched us plant these, and these are coming up quite nice. Much earlier than normal, which is why I started to put in some warm weather crops. So that's good news. Our mustards are looking pretty nice in the triangle. Our lettuce bed is doing quite well, especially this one. We've got an Asian pear, which looks like an apple, and that just pushed out some leaves. Pretty excited about that. Just the amount of lettuce. It's looking good. And oh, this is our first black walnut to push some leaves. Exciting. We've got cilantro. And back in this bed, 3 types of sunflower. We got some giant mammoth sunflower, some of the darker midnight varieties. And we also have some onions in here that we planted, as well as some painted mountain corn on both ends. Here you can see two nice little, maybe 20-ear stands to see how they do. Alan just left for a week or two on vacation to do some things. We got some straw mulch on our garlic and our onions to retain moisture as we go into the summer here. And I just prepared this bed for a lot of our summer planting, our squash. We'll put about 3 or 4 or 5 squashes out here, and maybe some other plants. All thanks to our broad fork. Now here we are, about 150 feet away from that other corn, and we put in about 150 ears of sweet corn here in this bed. The sweet corn seems to be a little bit more sensitive to our night temperatures, so we got them in a hoop house here, and you can see those corns coming up, as well as some peas back here. We got some peas and favas here. Another currant that's got huge amounts of berries. We got Bob, the basketball-sized cat. And we've also planted a peach out here that looks pretty hurt like Kurt. But we're crossing our fingers on that, so hopefully this peach will recover. Another currant which is covered prolifically in berries. The currant is native here, and these were all taken out of the woods about 4 or 5 years ago. So that's what we got popping. Things just starting to pop, I should say. And here in this giant bed, we got, again, looks like a few of the purple varieties. Now you can tell these purple varieties because they'll have more purple in the leaf here. That's that simple. And then also the color of the bloom. White potatoes and yellow and red potatoes typically have pink or white blooms, and the purple potatoes have purple blooms. Well, here we have like a little garlic chive or something. Let's see what that is. Just a regular chive, just in the middle of nowhere, growing right here. And so all this flower will produce nice little black round allium seeds, and we'll just let that spread around. And that's how the permaculture works its magic. It does what it wants to do when it wants to do it. Just planted some, geez, what did I plant in here? I planted some pak choy, some sweet basil, and some flowers, some zinnias. And just to end it up, I'll give you a sneak peek for our next video, which is going to be the greenhouse. Oh look, Frankie. All right, now we're in the propagation room. Oh, let's leave that door open. It's getting hot quick in here. Here's a Surinam Cherry, our patanga tree. Looking pretty healthy. All of our dwarf bananas looked terrible for months, and now that the temperature's going up, they've gotten some new leaves, and so they made it through. A couple things didn't make it that we purchased, but our fig made it, our guava. We got a dwarf mulberry, 2 other fig varieties, some medicine, and our tomatoes. So these are some of our starts. I've got a White Mountain Apache sorghum, a Santo Domingo winter watermelon, a Chimayo melon, I showed you those, some San Juan watermelon, some Chimayo chili, sugar pumpkin, 8-ball zucchinis, white patty pan squash, some Pixwell gooseberries. Just a lot going on in here. But I want to show you how intense the soil is that we've been using. The plants, well, they are potted, but they're super compact. Like this tomato already has 5 tomatoes on it. 1, 2, 3, now 6, and it's 7 tomatoes, and it's barely a foot high. And this is a yellow pear variety. So we've got a bunch of varieties of tomatoes, as well as peppers, all producing very small. You can see some bell pepper and a serrano looking pepper over there, a yellow banana. So, and our blueberries, look like they're making a few blueberries here on this repot. But that's what we got going on in here. And we'll go into that side in a little bit on our next video. So we're just going to be laying low here. Today it's supposed to be probably 85, 90. My goodness. And if you want to stick with me, I'll just come down. We'll just go down to the lower greenhouse here. And I'll show you. This is what we've been planting all those plants in. This is a local soil company that makes organic premium planter mix. If you were to buy the equivalent of this stuff, it'd be like 20 bucks a bag. You all know how much, 15 to 20 bucks a bag. This stuff only goes for 5 bucks a bag. So that's why we buy local. Save on shipping it from China to California back to your landscape store. Kind of just a waste of time and money. Plus, local soil is made with local forest products, and those plants recognize that it's local. We have a little tree area here on the side of the sawmill, and it looks like we had an aronia overwinter in this bag pretty nicely. An aronia berry we're going to be planting out there. We've got a honey locust, a carrageenan. That is a wax currant and another carrageenan. So we've got some nitrogen fixers and a berry producer to be moving around this year. The Nanking cherry here, which only gets half a day of sun, didn't produce any cherry, so we'll be moving that, clearly. Welcome. So we've turned over the greenhouse to some summer crops, and you can see I've got some amazing tomatoes in here already that are doing quite well. And here we got some that are about 2 feet high that are growing out of our Jimsai bed, which is a cross of bok choy. And we've been eating salads out of these 2 rows of salads for the last month. Pretty much haven't had to purchase anything from the supermarket. And as these tomatoes grow, we just move them up in here so that they stay into their cages. Some really nice looking favas and overwintered shards in here. A nice barrage. We're going to have to cut this back to get more light in here to our beans and cukes. And it's always a struggle in the spring as everything is blooming in here, but we're seed savers, so we need to save all the seed from our lettuce. You know, we pick 1 or 2 beets where we can get, look at the amount of seed from a single beet shoot here. It's enough to do 100 seed packs, let alone your entire permaculture orchard. And here we have a wonderful one of those Easter basket radishes that we enjoyed, and that's going to produce us a lot of seed. We also have lots of peas growing up here, which I just don't like them inside, so I might remove all these in just a bit and eat the peas, because they just block out too much sun. They just take up too much space. We come over here to our Peacock Broccoli, looking quite interesting. Another lettuce bed, whole row of chocolate mints on the back. This is our sorrel area, which is successfully seeded, so now I can seed save all this French sorrel. Take a look at all that, and more seeds hidden over here. And then we'll just cut these flush and continue to enjoy the perennial sorrel. Let's get one of these. Yeah, which is the longest lived cold adaptive green. It goes all the way to zone 2 as a perennial and tastes like lemons. It's amazing. Oh gosh, it's like a cave in here. That lemon. Well, what are you growing? Hope you got something out of the video. Food is free if you grow it. Be safe, we love you. Share this with like-minded people and click on one of the other boxes. Wow, fennel? You gotta be kidding me. Licorice. Be safe.